Hey guys, I'm back with another process video using my August stash kit, and I'm going to be scrapbooking another picture from our trip to France. And this one's going to be a selfie with my dad at a castle, if I'm not mistaken, in Angers. So if you're wondering why there's an ACT book on the floor on camera here, is because I'm currently at a different location than my home. So when I filmed this, so I had to improvise. So I was scrapbooking on the floor, and I'm using the nightstand as a place to put the my filming equipment. So I felt like I needed something to lift up the layout off the floor, so it would be more, I could reach it easily. So that's why there's an ACT book, which you will occasionally see when I move the layout. Okay, so I figured out my problem that I've been having making 8.5 by 11 pages or A4 pages the last couple times was because I was using pictures. The pictures that we're using were in the size of pictures I use for 12 by 12 layout. So I decided I'm going to use smaller pictures from now on for A4 size layouts. So here what I did was I just went through my stack of loose paper that I have in this kit and separated it into two piles, one being possibly used and one being not going to use. And then I came across this scrap piece from the Dear Lizzie Happy Day collection. No, oh gosh, I forgot the name of the collection. I think it's called Happy Day. Well, they'll see the paper pattern of it here. And I just placed it there, and I really liked how it looked. And I decided I'm going to make this like sort of like a top, well, it's not really a top heavy layout, but I'm going to use that chunk of paper. It's going to be the base for my layout, and then I'm going to put my photo on the seam between the cardstock and the layout. And the sorry, I can't speak apparently, the pattern paper. And then I'm just gonna like mat it, layer it, paper behind it, and add embellishments and such. And that's gonna be my design. So I did go ahead and mat my picture with some just white cardstock. And then I went through my stacks of paper there and just found paper I basically went first for paper that was ready, scrap pieces that were already cut to a smaller size. And then I thought that maybe I was thinking maybe I'll add a strip of a second pattern paper right there like that. But so that's why I went through this 9 by 12 paper pad. But it wasn't really working for me, so I'm just not going to do that. I currently have a green piece of paper behind my picture and two blue ones. Now, one of the problems that I had was that this paper has a lot of pink in it, but I want to focus on the green and blues, but the place where I want to stick my photo on is the place where the green, blue, and yellow line exists on the pattern paper. So I was kind of struggling with how I was going to layer things behind the photo so that they stood out, but it works fine in the end. I was just overthinking things as usual. So I'm just playing around with different scrap pieces that I have to see if I can make them work or if I have to cut into a new piece. And then I want to do some sort of title on this. So the first thing I do is go through my titling options. And of course, when I brought all my scrapbooking supplies to this new location, I just brought my kits thinking that they had everything in them, but I forgot to bring some thicker options. So I kind of struggle with the title, but I just did something simple in the end using the title options that I had. So yes. Here I decided to just glue this down. I know I'm gonna use it, and since it's larger than the 9 by 12, it's distracting from how it will actually look when I make the page, since it needs to be trimmed down. So I'm just gonna go ahead and trim it down and be done with it, and hope that I don't change my mind as the layout progresses. What am I doing here? Oh, now I'm looking for some other options that I might want to add behind my photo. So I'm going to go through 6x6 paper pads here in a bit, any other paper pads that I have in the kit and so on, to see if there's anything else I might want to add from that. But I want to make sure that this paper is really glued down on the edges, but not too much. It's a very fine line between being glued down so I can do mixed media easily and not being glued down so I'll be able to tuck things in later. So yes. So I wanted to tone down the background just so the picture and its layer stands out a bit more. So I wasn't in the mood to use gesso, so I just got my acrylic white ink, the liquid ink, and just used a brush and just brushed it on. And it also helps because the paper actually has the pattern paper has some subtle brush strokes in it, so it kind of worked out perfectly. So here I'm considering adding, I kind of wanted to add a black and white layer behind my picture, so I went through that Amy Tangerine, oh gosh, what is it called? Plus one. Okay, I don't know why I'm forgetting all my collections. And just picked out some black and white patterns that I thought I might want to try and use. And this yellow, I also pulled out this yellow striped paper because it will bring out some of the yellow that's in that large pattern paper with the stripes. So what I'm doing now is I'm just seeing if the colors work before I cut everything down, since most of the stuff is scraps and I want to try and use it as a scrap and not cut into a new piece of paper. And also the black and white paper, I only have one 6x6 sheet of it, so I don't want to mess anything up. So yes, and I'm going through embellishments for some reason. I'm probably thinking about my title, or I wasn't sure if I liked what I had going. So when I'm not sure about my papers, I just go through embellishments and see if anything stands out, because that will maybe help me with coming up with a design. So yes. So I know for sure that I want to use this diagonal stripe yellow paper just because it brings out that yellow so much. So I'm just gonna add a small mat though, because I already there's a lot of stripes going on. The background is stripes, and I'm using this diagonal stripe, and then I'm also using that blue paper, which is a stripe. So I don't want it to be too overwhelming. And now I'm going to add that green mat behind it. I'm not gluing it down though just yet. And then I'm gonna add the blue ones. Oh, here's where I start thinking about my title. So one of the title options that I had was this Dear Lizzie chipboard pieces that were navy blue, but in my head I had it stuck from the beginning that I wanted to use black as a sort of neutral bold color, and the navy looked nice actually, but I don't know, I was in the mood for black. I'm going to this sticker book to see if there's anything that I might want to use from there, but nothing stood out to me immediately. Considering this black camera piece, but this is way too bold for behind the picture. Then there's this text that I might want to use because it's a gray color. It's not super black, but it's quite neutral. Not super black. It's not that dark, very, very bold black. There is some black in the words, but it doesn't stand out that much. So I decide. Okay, I didn't decide it yet. I'm still trying to figure out what kind of layers I want to have. I'm bringing back the blue. I'm thinking about adding that green tag there. And I really liked how the blue looked, but I was struggling with how to make the stripes work. So there's a lot of back and forth for those layers. And then my camera stopped filming, and I've come back and I've glued down some of the layers, and I'm also did some embellishing. So I chose the word nope from the Amy Tangerine set. And why I'm using the word nope, so that kind of inspired me. I was just going to do some generic title like castle or view or something like that if I had my thickers, but since I didn't and I saw that nope in black that I really thought worked well on this page, it inspired me to make it about a story. So basically, when my father and I were taking selfies, he's significantly taller than me, and most of the selfies we took were with an awesome view in the background, so we wanted to make sure the view was captured. So my father had to put the camera really high, but then that way my head was cut off, so I ended up being on my tiptoes in all of the pictures, and my father found that very very funny, and he was laughing all the all the time. It took forever to take a picture. So I thought I might as well write that story down, especially since in this particular picture you can tell that I'm trying to like be taller because I have my hands on his shoulder and like my head is sort of tilted up in this weird way. It was, I don't know, it just felt like it worked. I'm sorry the frame is a bit cut off. I'm gonna push the layout up here in a bit, but basically I went through my chipboard and die cut sets that I have and just picked out a bunch of different things. So I did end up adding the blue as a layer behind my picture. I'm just gonna glue all the paper layers down now. See, I moved it up here. I'm gonna glue that cluster down. So I did end up adding the green and the blue, and I'm also gonna add that little white paper clip because I thought it looked nice. And then I'm gonna bring back in the nope, and I also have another chipboard piece under nope that I can't see what it says. I think it says say cheese if I remember correctly. So yeah, for some reason the tape came off a bit easier now because of the fact that it's on mixed media that wasn't quite yet dry, so I had the ability to move that cluster over. And now I have this camera here, which I really like over there. It's the only thing that I could make work over on that side of the picture, but I'm not sure if I'm loving it at the moment. So it's going to be a lot of fussing with that camera on the tripod. Then I thought I could do some sort of rainbow effect at the top there, but I felt it was with those hearts, but I thought it was too distracting from the picture for this particular photo. But if I had actually used that piece of paper as a background, that rainbow kind of look that I've been seeing a lot of in layouts lately would have really worked with that piece of paper actually. So yeah. See, so once I have all this paper down, there's not really a lot of space for embellishing, which is why I struggle with embellishing quite a bit on this layout and my last layout for some reason, because I want to have some embellishments, but not too many embellishments, and there's not really a lot of place to place the embellishments. Maybe it's just because I'm used to making 12 by 12 layouts and I have to get back into the 94 sized pages. So yes. I'm still trying to decide if I like that camera or not, or if I need to add something on the other side of the picture, or if I don't. And I can't make anything else work other than that camera, but I'm not sure if I'm loving it. Okay, so I did bring in that pink that's in the striped background into the cluster below. I did add a little tab in my paper layers and also bringing in some pink embellishments, but it's just so the pink doesn't look out of place. So now I'm going through, I'm trying to see if I want to add anything else. I decided to add that I'm going to glue down the word note with some tape because I've taken off the adhesive backing, and I did add a little yellow heart there. Again, just to bring in a bit more of the yellow. It's just I think it's a perfect little addition. That heart is a puffy heart from Ellie's Studio. And I'm going to add some splatter now. It's using Distress Oxides. I have the Twisted Citron and I think Mermaid Lagoon, but because I went back and added more paint and it was just too much. So I'm going to add some splatter, but I don't really like it. So I'm going to dab it up, and you can still see some of it. It's very subtle, and I like that a lot better. I'm not sure if you can notice it in the layout, but on camera, but in person it looks very nice. And then I decided to do my classic doodle some hearts with my Staedtler pigment liner and write some journaling. I didn't line up the journaling as much as I would have liked to, and it's kind of driving me a bit nuts because there's a small bit of a white space in between the journaling and the paper cluster, but it's okay. I'll get over it. So I think it's about going to complete the layout. Let me just see here. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.